Sundry, pebbled foundation of it all, where pine the birds, where the weird birds and willow birds whistle and wallow along the dewy shore. You haven't forgotten the rabbits and pheasants there, have you? Who silent sit in the brush's hollows. You haven't forgotten.
Gina O'Doyle.
O wild cat, O wild cat, as I wrote your name I heard you mewing to the wind, the stars. What does a cat have to say to the stars? No, it's just a ghost that cries for all the helpless life that dies and dies. O pale snail, your spiral shell is a little imprint of the moon. It makes its art upon earth brief and dies too soon. The rain falls as loud as the loudest birds, as loud as the loudest army. It begins the day, yet is inside of it, is a part of it. It is something of the gods. The birds and squirrels and all the creatures know it as well as you, but cannot tell it. It's loud with sheets of poetry, giant sheets of sky. It falls in circles that become tree rings, become your eyes, each drop a mirror of sun. It fleshes out the fullness of your breasts, your hips, as if they were made of sound. In feeding the stones and moss and flowers, it feeds our souls, fleshes us out, invents us. It sketches you as if a draftsman's pencil paints you as if a brightly colored tapestry. When the rain stops, it's as if an engine is turned off. Where are you in its absence? It dropped us from the stellar plains to the sea, and in its sounds, still like sea monkeys, we bob. And I see you clearly in the doorway that the rain made for us to enter.
Surprisingly. I will love you as surprisingly as a giant strawberry in your mouth, a giant goldfish in your pond, a giant glittering space fish in your sky. Most surprisingly. You can start with poems. Each word is a surprise, just like your thighs surprised me. I felt something in you that enthused me out of the humdrum, complacent gray of days. If you do not answer, well, then love will not surprise. Not like an egg, nor a ghost, nor a loud dog's bark. Your cat I tried to name. You I could not. This is I do. I do think of you in rain delay. I do think of you in a charming pose. I do think of you in monkey business. I do think of you on a summer's day in the breeze by open window, and you in a bathing suit, watching the ocean roll. I do think of walking city streets with you where the clouds fly by, like on some 1960s afternoon. I do think of having drinks and macaroons. I do think of marrying you. I do. I do.
Elizabeth Watson.
Hearken. Hearken to the twinkling music of the late night hours, minutes woven like silver and gold. See her cloistered with her flower-fretted body, her love like diamonds on her skin. When in the sea of things she comes, her lips that speak the tongue of love, that you feel even in the dark sea of things, and the learned with their calipers may measure her, along with the bedrock of the world where she is shining. In the quiet satin night, a dozen shades of green mix in the darkness. See the spirit trails crisscross the dim sky, like rockets love wines, weird emblems in the magic hours, dimly seen, drawing the breath of night. Hear her cries, on her fastidious feet, fingers, her pale soap limbs, sphinx-headed creature, hybrid, girl, monkey, cat, she is out there. When all else sleeps, drawing water, sowing the rare lilies, sprinkling the mushrooms in the forest's dawn. Hear her faint call, her song barely. You thought it was a distant bird, a lake, a moonlit lake of song, a wild estuary song that winds through dreams like a snake. Hearken to her music in the dire hours, touches earth. Hush, hush, all the cats wait and listen.
Brian Stupa.
Love was not fat, a velvety rose, but an insipid poem, a teal dress of bad taste.
John Berger.
I was judged by a baby tonight, as if he were the arbiter of wrong and right. He looked at me just like he knew what I was all about, as if it took just seconds to have me figured out. I was judged by a baby tonight, a baby in a fancy carriage, born with a talent to disparage, like he's deciding on gay marriage. His parents probably think he's funny. That stroller must have cost good money, a big affair in blue and white. I could tell right off the bat, he even had a matching hat. I was judged by a baby tonight, whose parents' job it was to roll him round to size up all of you out on the BID spring stroll. I was judged by a baby tonight, as if I lacked the required good and to be the part of the neighborhood. He scowled at me like W.C. Fields. That baby showed me who was right. He was a judge with no appeal.
Morgan Hellinger.
The rain came down and down and down and down. Shush, shush, rush, rush. It came down and down like swords, 100 sabers of the cavalry. It came down and down and down and down. Then, like little girls, white dressed, heels together, holding flowers that the rain fed. That was it. It spread in pools and pools and pools, and then, thank God, we slept.
International adventurer Glenn Strachan.
Here. This one's called Upon Hearing the Mention of Your Name. Surely this potato, with the curve and indentation of an ass, was not meant to remind me of yours, yet I look at it and I think of you. Why should I think of you at all? You are past, you are none. Is there always just a little bit of like that lasts after love's done? Why should I think of you at all, after only hearing mention of your name? It's as if there was some strange poet suitor in me still who listens and waits. This one's called Looking Forward. Okay. I was trying to see her in the bath, the one with the green slippers, the one who looked at me when she was on the phone, that one. The one in the photograph, the Italian gymnast, the Russian. The one at the restaurant who pretended to squirt milk out of her tits like a sculpture gallery nude come to life. The blonde making a bologna sandwich or topping off dessert with a liquor, that's what I was looking forward to. And one more, this one's called April Echo. So what, if I mispronounce a poet's name? With your voluptuous thighs, smother me. So what if I've got work to do? I want to pull your ribbon's knots, uncover thee. I know I have to catch a train, but you put fever in my brain, I am detained. With sundry poems I might be bored, Apologies to Thomas More. I want to pull you to the floor. And more. And more. Thank you.
Brian Kitsuda.
The girl lies somewhere between her skirt and jeans, in a combination of cinnamon and pink powder. A storm gathers in the snarl of her hair, and of her lip, and in the maelstrom of her eye. She, like some great ship with ironclad hips, but prettily stitched out of a church sail, daintily arranged, like a candy box. You are turning restless in bed for her. She with so many arms and legs, it seems, like a Shiva. Like the confused plastic limbs of dolls, like superhero limbs. How are you supposed to handle them all? She is like a garden, out of hand. But then again, you remember your maleness and are excited again.
Brian Speaker.
Her black flats looked like black cats.
Peter Engel.
This one's Picture You. Among the other girl pictures, you flounced into the room with your Rapunzel hair, wrapped up in itself as if bright ribbons, and it cast a spell on me. Some girl pictures feature bathing, nudes, elegant velvet, some beach resort, some punk black, you know. But you just came into the room like it was your picture frame, simply like yourself. So I pictured you pouring pancake batter in resplendent morning, pictured you lying on the bed like a doll in a Japanese costume. I pictured you like a shad full of roe. Is that what I was supposed to do? Dare I picture you hunting for mushrooms? Or as a pouty girl with meticulously arranged hair, wearing a string of delicate pearls, the face missing from the little Renaissance frame? It's pouring now. Strange that I should write to you like this, in the rain. But you cast that spell. Was it a mandrake potion you concocted that you sprinkled over me? Distant thunder rumbles like the gods commenting on such silliness as poetry. And to the scene of calm and gentle night, the lightning adds a gravity. The cover of The Human Aura features a man and woman kissing lit up in blue. Is that how I'm supposed to picture you? With your mandrake? Have you, in fact, usurped my entire manhood?
You are not helping me right. You seem to be trying to tell me something, but I don't know what it is. I may have to put you out of the room for the night. Marianne Moore. Who are you? Your obscure annotations and animal references leave me confused and seem to contradict your prominent place on the shelf among the hideous gargoyles of our times, some of which you've flattened out on the page. What exactly are you trying to point out, Marianne Moore? Why do you haunt my imagination? You follow me even among the estate sale boxes. Maybe it's just the sound of your name that I like. Moore. Your poetic output adds up to about 2 poems per year of your life. In the last 5 minutes, I've written the equivalent of half a year of your work. Please explain. Marianne Moore? Marianne Moore, are you there?
Lisa.
I saw you in your yellow skirt walking down the boulevard, taking the air, sauntering like royalty, showing off, hair flirted with by the wind like cinnamon blowing away and turning the day to auburn. You and that dog, like a witch with her familiar, your skirt and egg yolk to cast a spell on passerby. with your airy nonchalance in that gossamer way of yours, like a princess or a fairy from a book, an apparition. You who I thought I saw last night in the station, who have come into my mind for the past week, so that I was certain I'd be seeing you. A memory of something like pressed flowers, or old velvet, or moss of the Irish hills, something like that. Then when you appeared, I no longer had to expect you would drop out of the sky and land on me. I just wish you were on the other side of the solar system where no news could reach that you were ever even made by the gods at all.
Julie Hill.
Like a strange yellow flower standing tall in day is she in her exuberance and marble white fingers, and plaits of hair like layers of snow in Alps, I thought. Even like a little skier on a decorated cake. Her feet padded in garden and parlor of the old house and slept beneath blue and birds that chirped and danced like her. I thought she was a dangerous damsel out of some detective story, for girls do make me do much imagining, as they are such encyclopedias of life, and if I put my finger on her A or her B or her C and D, what might I find? A princess in a petticoat made of vanilla.
Joe Reichel.
She was at some point pretty, at some point wan and thin. She was at some point pale and blonde, at some point took me in. At some point a personality, a self whose glimpse I caught. But then breaking up like a fragment of a Madonna statue, lost, plowed under, tided over like all miscarriages, murders, and food chain meals. Ancestral photographs that turned to dust beneath the wheels. She was at some point a lubrication for the laws of attraction, a pair of white wings for a little love to fly, but then became just chosen sentences from her book of life, like snatches of television scenes. Nothing did we ever have to say. Her careful, guarded hello, her weary putting up with me, at some point all that was left. At this point now, still like a haloed Madonna, visage aglow, herself a seamless self, a being that can be outside my world, whatever was her point. A bird's trajectory, away, away, a speck in nothingness.
Alex Hammond.
At some point she appeared. Among the street vendors, the old folks dressed in their Sunday best, and various obscure literary references. She appeared in a balance between the birds on the wires and a spiritual understanding akin to an understanding of accounting. At some point she appeared in Elizabethan ringlets, in a paroxysm of a craving for ice cream, and her enthusiasm for a sunny garden for interpreting speech. At some point she appeared in an Easter dress holding fuchsias. At some point it was clear that it was all a dream. At some point I woke up. She was ready to have babies. She was no longer a virgin. She was no longer that pinpoint of soul, her consciousness, her country recipes, her aspic mood, her extraordinary drive to occupy mental space. At some point, her space was something other. Much so, much other than me, much other than our green surroundings that make sense in a world that makes sense. Her sense was just the despairing emptiness of a garden unvisited, untenanted, as depressing as a Star of David patch, like a field empty of life, no mouse, no bird, no bug. All that life railroaded, rear-ended to hell. At some point she became a caricature of herself. something recognized but not known. At some point she became a white hole, a little orphan Annie-shaped spot of nothing. At that point, I ended the evening with a book, with no sense of her, with no thought towards sense, only the little sequestered sense of a book. I did not want to happen, for her to vanish into the morning as if with some magical dew. I did not want it to happen. Not for her to ever go, not for her to ever be anything other than what she was, ever.